Good to have your company, and thank you for choosing the national broadcaster. My name is Sandra Kahonde, welcoming you for this particular episode of Entrepreneurs Hub. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you, and of course, talking to different people out there. We get inspired and we learn a few things, so you better have at least a notebook with you for those of you who are interested in value addition, because that is our talk for the day as far as agriculture is concerned. That is our conversation, and to help me share all that and much more for this talk, I'm having Fred Lugemwa. He's the founder of Agrivita. Yes, that is the right pronunciation. He'll be telling us much more what Agrivita does, how long they've been in this game, and what do they do when it comes to value addition, and how can you benefit, you the viewer who is watching this very episode. Welcome once again. Fred, you're most welcome to this show. How have you been?
I've been okay, thank you very much.
It's never too late to say a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Well, the president always advises us to look at agriculture, to embrace agriculture. All the stakeholders out there, they always advise us to look at value addition. You know, they're encouraging the different people out there. This does not segregate. Of course, the young and the old, whether you're in the urban setting or you're in the rural setup, we need to embrace value addition. First, tell us more about Agrivita. What is it all about, and how long have you been in place?
Yes, I'll first continue with what you've been talking about value addition. I believe that adding value to products is the same as adding value to your life. Agrivita has been in place for the last 9 years in research. We are Agrivita Industrial Solutions, and we focus on extractions of active ingredients from natural plants, from nature. And in here we have a strong focus in cosmetics, and we extract different parameters for different skin conditions. We have zeroed down to industrial extractions of hydrosols and essential oils, solvent extracts, supercritical carbon dioxide extracts, and we use all that information to work with other fellow youth. We build confidence in the youth, and we make them see that production is actually an easy task, because we are blessed with a beautiful country that has most of the active ingredients needed. And so this lowers down the production cost of different products, making it easy for anyone to enter the production line. Basically in cosmetics, which is a very stronghold for us. We are calling upon fellow youth to come and join our campaign. The biggest advantage that we have in this country is the nature. Imagine going and you're moving on a highway, you're seeing green everywhere. Many of these species have different active ingredients that are in products that are imported. I'm calling upon youth to come to us and we work together. We help you do secondary production, which has been in place. But the advantage that we are sharing together is that we extract these active ingredients that are used in cosmetics. Now we teach fellow youth on how to make products, and teaching is free of charge. We develop machines that you use in formation of the products. We help you with product development. We help you with entrepreneurial skills, how to actually sell what you produce. We help you with different market segments, how you can penetrate, which products are right to enter with which capital size. And it's actually always very easy for someone to start with cosmetics, because we find it very defensive.
You know, I've been asking myself, how did you start? You know, the motivation, the inspiration, and of course the access. You're talking about how you enable them to get the market, and you teach them on how to do it. And you being a young person, you know, one wonders why else would he concentrate on agriculture? You know, could be a long-term thing. Usually the young people want something that is quick, that will bring in quick money.
We started in 2000.
You know, it's never easy to start. You know, one would think of like having a 5 mile on your account. You know, you need to have an inheritance on you. You know, you need to start big. That's what usually others tend to think.
That's actually very wrong. You can start from as small as possible. all you need to start is determination. And actually, for all our clients, we advise them and we talk to them because we serve our clients. It's not about how much capital one has, because even someone with 100,000 will prevail, while another one with 100 million failed. So we started in 2012. That was when I finished my senior 6. I had so much passion in physics and math. And there is a specific experiment that I loved. It's called the specific latent heat of vaporization. And here I thought of how I could practically use it, even though it was basic physics. And I landed on essential oils as internet was available. I started Googling about them and I built my first distiller. It was actually a steel distiller. And I was so lucky that at the market that time, there were a few people doing that. And I came in the market, I had a bicycle. I could go in the bush myself and harvest the leaves, put them on my bicycle and come and supply.
How did you get to know those particular, all the herbs or the leaves?
Okay, first of all, I knew that extraction of essential oils would give me concentrates of medicine. So I first went to the market. I first went to the people that I knew could buy. I made them a sample of something basic that I knew they would take. Basil, wamujaja. Yes. So everyone I knew
it was a trial and error.
And they loved basil. We produced basil, we brought it to the market, they gave us a good market, and we learned something very important that we want to teach the youth. We learned leadership. That is the time our life changed, because I understood that I was going in the bush myself, picking the leaves myself, but then I'm killing a lot of time. How about if I had 4 people doing exactly what I was doing? And so I hired 4 people. The time of production reduced and production scaled up, and so business became good.
So your first consumers actually were your friends, those who were closer to you?
No, they were okay, they became friends eventually, but there were people that were interested in what I was doing.
Interested.
Yeah.
Not like they had to buy by force because they're not afraid. When you're starting small.
No. And that's what we urge you people. In the cosmetics industry that we have chose to focus, this is it's a win-win. You win with product development, so you win with customer satisfaction. As long as your customer is extremely satisfied, you definitely win. You don't have to know anyone. You just have to be ambitious. Make sure you have active ingredients in your product. Make sure your product is focused on a specific treatment. If you're talking about pimples, make sure you have papain. Make sure you have, because papain has alpha hydroxy acids, make sure you have like rosemary hydrosol as a base. Make sure you have a few parameters that you get to know in detail when we meet. But it's very, very important for you to focus on product quality. You don't have to know the world for the world to know you, as long as you have a very good product.
So in the different services that you offer to the young people, there is training them, equipping them, empowering them. What else do you do on ground?
For the young people, we train them, we empower them, we build their confidence. I think that covers across. We first start with building their confidence. We make sure they can win. And we give them realistic approaches to life. Like, we've been in the market, in the real market. There is no part of this country that I personally do not know. All my staff have not been in. We know shortcuts in Arua, we know shortcuts in Mbale, we know shortcuts in Jinja. We have been everywhere in the market, and we have those strategic plans that help you as a young capital investor to start. And you can start as small as possible as long as you have the right strategy.
So it's about the strategy, the determination, and the willingness. I'm trying to pick from what you've been sharing. One has to be ambitious, a go-getter, I suppose. How has the penetration been? Because if you say you've been at most of the parts of the country, in the region, it's not easy to penetrate through. because by the time you get into the scene, someone out there has already been there and maybe they're doing what you're doing. You need to be special. So what makes you special in order for you to have that penetration you've been having? Because I can tell it's been a success.
I can give you a few examples of how to be successful. I'll pick three products. I'll go with soap, I'll go with facial scrub, I'll go with aftershave, and I'll explain how these different stocks perform and how you can have advantage over them. Now with soap, if you want to start soap and you have little capital, let's say 200,000, you need to first of all produce grade A soap. It has to be highly medicinal, like it has to treat. And you have to have a simple sales strategy. It is soap and cream. This sales strategy should be credit, and you should have the peace to accept to sell on credit. Because in sales there are so many costs. There are transport costs, which is the biggest that kicks down people. There is team cost. You have to, if you have a team, you have to pay accommodation for these people, feed them every day. So it's better for a young entrepreneur who's just starting to produce quality. After producing quality, there is this simple strategy that works. You have your product, take it to like 4 traders. Let's say in Mbale, I have 1 trader. In Busia, I have 1 trader. In Iganga, I have 1 trader. Give them on credit. Make sure their capital is worth it in the shop, that they can't fail to pay you. After that, give them stock on credit. Don't try to sell cash. If you're dealing with soap, the magic for them to sell your product is give them samples. Instead of going, because you don't have the money to go on media or TV and market, go give these traders samples. In the process of making soap that's basic for our level A starters, the starters that I would say that don't have capital, like 200,000, and they have to win. How we work with them and we make sure they win is they produce that type of soap. In the production process, there are offcuts. Give all the offcuts out. We make sure the product is good. If it's to remove pimples, it really removes pimples. Period. That's our marketing strategy for that product. Now the sample, every person that goes to a wholesaler's shop that you gave your stock is going to leave with a sample in case they have a similar skin condition that this wholesaler will see. So your job is to convince the wholesaler that whoever he sees with the skin condition that your product targets to sell, they give them a sample. And like that, the results do not lie. If a lady has a skin that's disturbing them and you solve their problem, they will pay your price.
So, of course, at the end of the day, if they've tried it out for a week and have not yet paid at the store, they will definitely go and
yes,
pay.
So that's a sales strategy for soap. Make sure you don't move around the entire country. That's one of the school fees we personally paid. We learned that moving around, though we did it, sometimes wins, but it comes with a few challenges. And we knew that if you're dealing with a product that is not sold instantly, like someone buys soap and even though your soap is as good as an angel, someone will still stay with it for 2 weeks.
So memory lane, taking you back, the chemistry and what you did study in class has paid off.
Yeah, it has. It has.
And how has it been like the reception on ground? How is the Ugandan market? Are you being favored? And then how are the young people? Because your target is really to empower them, for them to also be job creators. How is the reception so far via the Ugandan market and the young ones coming to you for empowerment?
I've not seen that with only me, but I believe that anyone or every young person that goes into service of science, they will always win. When you're in science, you can make things happen. You can solve a few, just like you solve equations, you solve a few equations in the real world. Like, I haven't finished about that explanation where I got lengthy about soap, but when I break it short, that you can sell soap like that. But then look at aftershave. Aftershave, for the guys that are out there, how many times do you go in a salon and ask for the specific type of aftershave they have to use on your face?
They just settle for any that is available.
Yeah,
Not so.
I mean,
They just
the one that puts up,
he's the one who
as long as
chooses.
it's certified. So there are products like that that now winning in that market, you have to work backwards. Here we make a simple distillation tower where everyone else, like 90%, we have the research and we are giving facts. 98% of the people that are producing aftershave, be it huge scale or small scale, are buying spirit. They are buying ethanol. I'm urging the young people, we make small distillation towers that you have to just have a plantation of sugarcane and produce aftershave. You will have a production cost of a liter of ethanol at 3,500, whereas your huge competitor that you already find in the market has already a production cost of 9,000. Sorry, a purchase cost. Your production cost is 3,500. They have a purchase cost of 9,000 shillings. So you're already a huge number below them. And when you do that, you have your product certified, you have a very competitive edge to play with. Then you can move around the market, but selling at a very low price. And definitely you win.
The toughest moments that you vividly remember, you know? You're like, because I know there are losses. People encounter losses when it comes to investment. You know, like you talked about letting people have the product on credit. You know, with time they'll pay up. You know, things like that. What are those toughest moments you have to cite out so that you know a lot happened. Others try to deviate or get to some other. They're like two boutiques. No, that won't bring the pay for me. Let me try. You know, starting up a dry cleaning. You know, so that you think of so many things. And with the COVID and the experiences and the discipline, people try to pick up onto different adventures in life. What are those toughest moments you can cite out?
The hardest moment for us was also in production. You know, when you're in science, there are experiments that break you. Some of them don't work out, and some of them work out, but they give like a bad side effect that affects you. I remember it was about they could be 6 years back now when we had started. All my life has been about science, and this was a time where we were researching about refurbishing jeans, like adding value to all jeans, where they like never fade. And I have to talk about it. Now, as well, in the production process, we had a formula. We made sure our jeans couldn't fade. So this formula was oil jeans. Oil jeans everywhere in the world are made using this normal paint that you see, like the oil paint. The solvent that we used, because we could remove it, was petrol. We sprayed the jeans with a solution that had petrol in them, and we put them we built a dryer and a blower. We could dry and blow out all the petrol, and we could bale them and sell them as second-hand jeans. The margins were amazing. The jeans were super nice. They could never go wrong, but a mistake happened. And we learned this, and it also added on our leadership skills. We fired those employees that we had because numbers had grown, and we thought that when we get those that were cheaper, we would save. And these guys started cooking at the premises. So what happened? The stock burnt. The stock completely burnt. It was a tough experience. I just started. It was like 7 years back. I was about 22 years. And yeah, we had to pass through it. But it taught us a lot, and right now we don't find it as a challenge because it happened in our field. It taught us how to control that in case something like that happens. And it taught us that chemistry is chemistry.
It is Entrepreneurs Hub. Good to know you're still part of the program. Shortly after these messages, we return. Entrepreneurs Hub, giving you a deep and unique insight into agribusiness, services, ICT and innovation, industrialization and so much more. Entrepreneurs Hub, growing your small, medium and large business entity. With yours truly, Sandra Kahunde, right here on UBC, Inspiring Uganda. Welcome back. Good to know you're still watching and following the show right here. It is an interesting episode. I get in Fred's inspiration and experience. It's amazing. And of course, it is Entrepreneurs Hub, growing your small, medium, and of course, large enterprise. Welcome from the break, I should say. Well, Fred, for someone out there, a young person who wants to be like you, or maybe try to locate you and get to see you, or maybe they need some tips, you know, since you're embracing the young people out there with what you're doing, you know, how can they get to you?
They can come at, we are at Park View, opposite Old Tax Park, shop 7172, level 3. Or reach us out on 0758 499 070. We work together to make sure you don't fail. We work together to accept any type of capital size, and we know that we can work with it. We have a program that, because our success is the success of others, our mission is making sure we have so many people in production. We are focused on extraction of the active ingredients, the grade A products, the raw materials that are used. For us to be able to sell our raw materials, we should be able to have so many people in production. Yes.
Okay, you started way back, that is in 2012. You know, I'm looking at that, the lifespan of your investment and how the youths have embraced it and the markets, the Ugandan market as well, favoring you. What has helped your growth all through, you know? What has helped you grow through all this and the experience you've had?
What has actually helped us grow all through the few customers that we have made sure they are successful, we have made sure they have stories to tell, and the other thing is that we are flexible through situations. For example, in the pandemic, in the lockdown, for us we see it as a black swan. We made a lot of money. We used the same strategy and got polypropylene material from a certain supplier that we normally buy packaging material from, and we hired teams. We had about 45 tailors that would manually make the masks. We paid them piece rate, and each person was producing about 1,000 masks per day. So by the time the president said that everyone should be putting on a mask, we already changed branding of all our vans, and they had polypropylene face masks. Guess what? They removed hydroquinone from the equation. It's completely dangerous to use hydroquinone in cosmetics. But there is kojic, there is rice water. They don't bleach, they just brighten. So there is always a scientific way of solving anything. I've seen so many people being affected by taxes, but they shouldn't worry about that. There are so many ways to move around and still pay the taxes and still have a profit. If you're into maybe production of bread, do you know that you can make the glucose syrup yourself? A lot of corn is used as posho in our country, but you buy glucose syrup, you get? So there are so many different ways of cutting down costs, and this is what we solve for our people. When you come to us, we sit down. Some formulas take long. Like we have a customer that we are working on. He's developing fertilizer from their waste. We want to make that waste useful. And it has so far taken us 3 months into product development. So some products take quite a little bit long, but we make sure we come out accurate. Production is the best way to go. And according to the nature of our country, since we are in an African country, let's look at agriculture. We have a lot. Can you imagine, this is a mango tree, right? Not so? You eat the mangoes, you throw the seeds. But do you know that there is mango butter? A kilo of mango butter is from mango seed, the seed that you throw. A kilo is sold at 60,000, and so many cosmetic companies buy it. So everything that you see that is green has value. How much is a kilo of chlorophyll? Do you know that for those people that were bleached and they have blemishes, side effects of hydroquinone, chlorophyll helps them grow their melanin back. Anything that's green, as long as you wilt it in a sunless area and it loses moisture, you can do solvent extraction and you remain with chlorophyll. That's a product. So there are so many products. How about clay that is used in brick making? Can you imagine? Clay is used in masks. It's used in masks. So we urge you people to come and join the movement, to join the energy of research, the energy of practical doing. We want people to see that they can make themselves better through what the country already has. We shall do a lot of import substitution. We shall reduce and our economy will grow. I always tell fellow youth that it's not the government that makes the economy. It's us, what we do, that accumulatively grows to create a bigger GDP. One time I was in the village. There is a lady that I met. She was clearing a field, and this field had Tiget's minuta. She was clearing this field to plant beans. And I told her, "Excuse me, lady, can you please give me all that rubbish?" She gave me all the material to get minuta. I took it and put it in a distiller. I made value of about 2.8 million shillings from what she was throwing away to grow beans that grew about 50 kilograms of them. And how much is a kilo of beans? About 3,000 shillings. So there is so much magic in things that we don't know. Let's come together and learn. Let's come together and get information and learn how to do things. Thank you very much.
Amazing work, amazing. Wow, we'll definitely have to host Fred once again to give us all that information in as far as value addition is concerned. Because I mean, at the end of the day, we cannot do away with agriculture, you know. We eat every day, and most of the surrounding has to do with green, you know. And the talk that goes on to do with climate change and embracing agriculture, and adding a lot when it comes to the economy and the GDP, as he has been sharing with us. That's all we had time for this particular episode of Entrepreneurs Hub. Make sure you join us once again next week, same time and same place. UBC Inspiring Uganda. My name is Sandra Kahonde, and had a wonderful time with you, my dear viewer, and of course our guest for the day, Fred Lugemwa. Yeah, Fred Lugemwa has been our guest for the day. We'll definitely have different episodes, as he'll always be tipping us on a number of tips to do with agro processing. Thank you so much for your time. Wish you all the best. And I'm sure they'll definitely look at the young entrepreneurs out there, the youth especially. Take care. God bless you.